guys, welcome to the podcast. This is Jeremy and Cory Haynes.
It's me.
It's Cory.
What's up?
And anyway, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for listening. Today we're talking about preparing for marriage while being engaged. And
that's you, my friend.
So right now, as we record this, I'm getting married in almost 10 days. As of, it's nighttime right now, but tomorrow will be 10 days.
10 days.
Till I get married. But when this comes out, I'll be a married man. So I'm just smiling as I'm talking.
And next time that we record, because we record in advance, sorry guys,
Yeah.
it's not every week, you'll be married.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be so weird.
That's going to be really nuts.
I'm so excited.
We'll both be married.
Yeah. I'll finally have caught up to you and have your
right.
respect. So I'm excited.
Yeah, you don't have my respect right now.
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
respect you.
Anyway, yeah, we're excited. So yeah, I want to, me and Cory wanted to kind of basically talk about what happens when you're engaged. Like, what do you do? How can you prepare like for this next huge step, being married? And so I'm going to go through, like, obviously it's fresh in my mind. Like, I'm in the middle of it right now. So I'm kind of going to share like what I've been doing and what's worked and what hasn't worked, and like kind of what are the thoughts and feelings that I'm having. And then Cory can, chime in and then, share his, because he obviously went through the same thing. So
you guys got engaged in August, right? Is that when it was?
Yeah.
So it's been August, September.
August 29th. So we don't even count August.
Oh, okay. So like September, October, November, December. So you will have been engaged for about 5 months.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have 5 months to prepare for marriage. Or really, I mean, I guess you kind of should be preparing for marriage way before then.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Where you're dating, even like becoming the person that the person you're looking for is looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what have you kind of been doing the last 4 or 5 months to prepare for marriage?
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of thinking. Like, I think in general, I like think a lot, but like this big change coming up has caused me just like every day, like I think about it, like I'm getting married, like a lot has changed. And my situation, I think, is a little unique in that like, so my two closest friends, like you and Nick, are both married, both recently married to within the last year.
Yeah.
And then the majority of like my just other like friends that I am somewhat close to are almost all married, and I'm the youngest of 5 siblings, and every sibling is married. So, and all that was in the last 5-6 years that everyone's kind of been getting married. So, like everyone around me is getting married. It seems like the normal thing to do. So, been around it a lot.
So you just joined them. Oh, why
no,
not?
What I'm trying to say is like, okay, when you were going through the process of getting married, it wasn't like it was cool to watch it for you. It wasn't like, I definitely had like, it was cool to like kind of go through that with you and being you guys the bestest
minch.
Yeah, I want to say that, the bestest minch for both of you guys. It was cool to kind of like be close with you guys as you guys went through the process, but still I didn't know what it was like because I'm not the one getting married. So
yeah, that
got me the closest to it. But now that I'm actually going through it, like, dude, the emotions you feel, like the feelings and thoughts, it's like, it's crazy. I remember like you sharing everything with me, but it's just different when you go through it. And so it's hard to put into words, but there's been like a lot of thinking going on, like a lot of just processing and kind of like realizing like, there's a lot that's going to change. And like through the engagement process, as you know, like a lot of stuff comes up, like a lot of things like, in you and in each other that just kind of has to get dealt with and talked through. And so that's kind of been interesting as well. And then like lastly, like hearing you and Nick kind of share, like you guys both got married and kind of both like individually had your like your like, oh crap moments, like, oh man, I'm married now, like kind of thing. And like that kind of like struck a little bit of like fear in me, like, man, like this is super real. Like, if, Cory and Nick, guys that have done very well and I respect them a lot, like, or having, some difficulties, like this is going to be real. So all to say, I've done a lot of thinking, and before we got engaged, it's kind of funny. I feel like I'm in a better spot now than I was before we got engaged. And and by that, I mean, I was expecting, like, as I think most people, before you about to get married, they kind of like go through like a season, like a couple weeks of like freaking out, right? And kind of going crazy. I just feel like super excited. Like I feel like really excited. I'm sure I'll freak out like the day before. I'll get nervous, but
but I feel like that's maybe also a cliche a little bit, like kind of from the movies. The groom disappears. And,
I'm not saying that level of freak out.
I know, but like it's just kind of to be expected. But also like maybe it's because we're Christians too. I feel like there's something different about it where there's a lot more like anticipation, and like we're not thinking like, oh no, I'm locked down for the rest of my life, and like only ever be with one woman. Like we're thinking like, oh, like I finally get to marry. You know,
I've
the woman of my
anticipated this for
my
so
dreams.
long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I finally get to get married.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is, like before we got engaged, I had like a lot of feelings of just feeling like super nervous and like kind of uneasy, a little anxious, and like a lot of that has to do with other things I've like had dealt with in my life that we've talked about. But like overall, I was like pretty nervous to get engaged and kind of become get married. But honestly, from like the moment, like literally like the night we got engaged, I've had like just consistent peace, which has been cool. Like I've just felt like consistently like secure, like knowing this was the right thing. So that's good. Like that has remained all the way up until like today. So I mean, I feel very peaceful. That has like been with me as I've gone through kind of like the roller coaster of like thoughts and emotions. So I kind of wrote down a few things that I've kind of been feeling. So like some of what I've processed over the last couple months is kind of like realizing like through talking that like I'm a pretty like selfish person and I have like a lot of work to do. Like that just kind of keeps coming up like in both of us. I mean that's normal, but it's like a reminder of like I think what's kind of setting in is like this is like forever. Like until I die, like I am going to be with Connie and like vice versa, which is like a crazy thought.
Yeah.
Like
Your vows.
Yeah, my whole life is with her, and so that has me thinking like, dude, I gotta get better. Like there's just like a lot to work on,
Yeah.
And kind of what that has me thinking like this is gonna be like really hard. Like this is gonna be hard. Like not easy by any means. But on the flip side, I've had thoughts of like this is gonna be really good. Like, and I'm really excited. And I've kind of found like my thoughts are pretty like all over the place. Like there's like a lot going on, and
like you can't think about it all at once.
Well, because I don't know what it's gonna be like. I think
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. Like there's only so much prep that we can do, and then we're married. And so like I think I've done most of the prep I should do. But at this point, it's a matter of just like it is what it is, and like let's go forward. So I feel excited, but I have like a lot of thoughts that I'm definitely processing. Kind of one thing that like you said that has stuck with me is like really it's setting in that like I am like I'm forever going to be responsible like for Connie and like for like leading her, and that means spiritually, emotionally, and kind of just being her overall like covering and like for my future family, and that's like a big weight, and I don't have any idea what that means because I'm not married yet, and I'm sure it'll set in even more, but I'm just trying to like grasp that. Like I'm trying to understand like what that looks like and what that means, and it's just crazy to think that through. To like think about all this big change.
Right, like it's up to me.
Yeah,
like it's up to you.
Fully.
And like it's not like, oh hey, like, I don't know, like support yourself on your job, and I don't know, like you just never. I think it goes back to the selfishness part a little bit too, where you're always thinking about your own like survival, and then you're like, wait, someone else's survival is now dependent on me too.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Connie would do and has done fine without you, but now like you are responsible, like given by God to be responsible for Connie, and it's just kind of like.
And I think what I'm realizing is like that relates in like super small like inconvenient levels, but also like huge like big like it's big stuff. But it's just like a crazy thought. Another thought I've had a lot, which has been good, but I've like wanted more and more like to be more and more like Jesus, and I kind of just like realizing how far I am from that. But I've also kind of felt like when that's like my main focus, and when I'm thinking about that daily, like I feel like my days have gone better. Does that make sense? Like when I'm focused on like how can I make things better, how can I whatever. Like when I think about me, things are rough. But when I think about I just want to be more like him, and like how can I improve in that? Like that push for me has just been good. I think it's produced like positive results, and so that's encouraging. So that's like some of my thoughts, but like I've also done like practical things to prepare, so I wrote those down as well. So the first one was just like advice. Like really what I've tried to do is everyone that I've talked with over the last 6 months or so is just like ask them, like obviously most like married men, like ask advice, like what I can be doing during this time to prepare. And that's been like super helpful. One thing I want to say was like literally everyone has given me different answers, and so I think it's important to kind of narrow down like who you're talking to, because that's kind of been a bit of a challenge. Like everyone and everyone thinks they have like the most important, like the wisest thing to say, which is
let me tell you,
is funny.
Like,
but I've like I think a lot of good people in my life, so that's been helpful. I had a night I was hanging out with Isaiah Lepper, Zach Hayes, and who else was it? Don't remember. Anyway, those guys, whatever. And Wesley Fulkerson, who's awesome. So
Yeah.
and I was just like, we're hanging out and just asking him like advice, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Isaiah, but I think he's giving me like the best like advice I've ever heard. It was really good, I thought. Basically what he said was like, I wrote it down. He said, he said, if I'm unhappy with like something that my spouse does, he said it really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what I feel. And he said, at the end of the day, I guess it's not gonna work for me if I try to fix her. It's not gonna work if I think, what can I do to like just make this better. And he said it all comes down to like to my response and simply like whatever I do. And he said the more and more that I learn to respond well and to like love her better and love her more, then he said that I think the more I'm going to see change and the more she's going to receive that. And he said the more I try to fix the problem, the like less it's going to actually work. And that seems like simple advice, but I don't know why it just like really hit me. And I think I'll figure that out as I go. Honestly,
it's so good. Like, just like put that up somewhere. You know what I mean? Just like read it
always
every day.
Remember it, yeah.
And like you'll get it more and more every day. Like I don't like I used to read that. I'm like, wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
But still, like, it's not gonna like fully become real and like practice it like right away. You just have to practice it.
Yeah, I think it was good though. I mean, it what's hard about this, like talking about this right now, is like I'm not married yet. So I don't know. Like, these are all just ideas I have, and like, but we'll see what happens. But we're trying to talk about like, what do we do to prepare? Like, if you're engaged, like, what do you do? Like, so some of what I've done is just get advice, and like that has been really helpful for me.
Yeah.
Another thing I've been really focusing on is just learning, and so 4 months ago, every book I've read since then, and I've done a book a month, has just been about either about marriage or engagement or like personal growth, like that type of stuff. And that's been super helpful. I've also asked like my dad and some friends and some pastors that I know, like, just what are some books you'd recommend kind of on marriage and this topic, whatever. And that's been good. So I've read those recommendations, and it's all been good. It's all like been sinking in. This another big one. I put down like having order in my life, and like this means like from details, like basically just like having like details of like life worked out is what I want. So things like maintaining like a clean car, clean workspace, office, clean room, a clean house, having like a grasp on all my finances and upcoming bills. It's like just details of life. Like, I mean, this can go on and on and on, but just like things we have to do, having everything like in order. Like, I really just want to go into my marriage like not feeling like behind. Like, I'm sure like just when you feel like behind and kind of like out of whack, it's super hard like to like feel good and kind of what you're doing. And so like right now, like I've been really struggling like with this one, like having everything in order. So before we leave for like the wedding, I want to have things like orderly, right? And I want to have us come home to like that things being clean and set up for us and kind of being
start
ready.
That way.
Yeah, start that way. And it's going to get messy. Things are going to get crazy, but do the best we can to maintain that. I've also I'm learning. I feel like I get frustrated with Connie when like things are messy or like out of order, and kind of learn like that's not helpful and it doesn't matter. Like I am the one that has to lead in this area. And so like for my life, like right now, I'm trying to do all those things for myself. And I think the more and more like I learn it for me, like then it's gonna be easier to like implement it with like my family, So that one's like the hardest one I think for me. It's just like having order.
Well, yeah, and your life's been so crazy last few months.
It's been crazy, and so like,
the hardest.
Don't get me wrong, I've been failing like really bad
Yeah.
in this area. Like, give me a big fat 0 on this box, but
right.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, like I said, I think that the order I want, if I want that in the future, then it starts now. Like, it's not going to start when I get married. So, been journaling my thoughts a lot and kind of just writing like this.
That's cool.
Because it's been like
I didn't take you as like a journaling guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not like hey, dear diary. Like,
right. But
January 7th. Like, no, not like that. Like, yo, what up, journal? Like, no.
Jared Swag here again.
Checking in. No, it's just
checkity-check.
How I look at it. Yeah, whatever. How I look at it is just kind of tracking my thoughts. Like, I don't write down like in depth. I basically kind of write out like what I'm feeling and thinking. And I don't know about you, but for me, like I said, my thoughts have kind of been all over the place in this journey or this like past few months. And so writing my thoughts out has been good to help me like stay on track. Like, I know, like, it's helped me to like really like know what I'm feeling and thinking. For me, when I like write words on paper, like I have to like really take in to think about what I'm putting down. And so like making sure I write what I'm actually like really feeling, and thinking. So that's been good. It's been a great way for me to like, kind of look back on stuff. And kind of like lastly, just been praying a lot. Like Shane gave me some good advice. He just said, basically, if you want to see change, if you want to see things different, he said, like, pray. And he said that's the best thing you can do is to pray, for your circumstances, for your marriage, for your spouse. And so I've been doing a lot of that, and just as I anticipate, it's coming up pretty soon, I'm just trying to soak myself in prayer. And yeah, so that's kind of the main things I've been doing to prepare.
That's
And,
good. I'm glad that you've had like such, I don't know, like order and like structure and.
Well, I think it's honestly only because like seeing you and Nick get married, like
Huh.
really like being so close to you guys and like going through the process with you and like kind of seeing where you guys like like struggled and what went well, what didn't, like has helped me to kind of like learn from that. So I owe my thanks to you, bro.
You got it, bro. Anytime. Yeah, I love that because I feel like for me, like the thing that I feel like I regret a little bit is almost not doing all this stuff. I mean, I asked around for advice and, I read a couple books. I didn't get through Wild at Heart, which is kind of part of the genesis of this whole thing. But like I wasn't as intentional about like planning, like here's where I want to be when we're married. And, here's the things I want to do to prepare myself. It was more like, I just need to like get through this crazy engagement time and like
Which
be
is
married
so
already.
easy to do that. Like,
Yeah, like you just have to kind of survive. And I think it's good too. Like you guys had a shorter engagement, and it varies for everyone. Like I wouldn't go back and do it any other way. I'm glad we did do it this way, but we were engaged for a year, and so it's almost like too long to be very intentional
all
about
these
what you're
things,
doing.
yeah.
Yeah, like
I totally agree with that.
Y-
I think I was so intentional because I had to be like,
yeah, you can only
when
prepare
it-
so much when it's a
yeah.
year,
Yeah,
but
I'm
if
with
you
you.
have a shorter window, then you can be much more kind of purposeful about it. One of the things that we were talking about before was like I was just telling you, like make sure to go on dates and to like be around each other, and like I think when you're engaged, when you're preparing to get married, it's very easy to just get caught up in all the details, all the to-do lists, all the things that are going wrong, and it's also very easy to just not like give each other the attention that each of you needs. And so then like you don't want to like get married and then feel like, oh great, now we can like hang out again together, like
Yeah.
you want it to like build up
That
romantically,
continues, yeah.
and like you want to like have the time together and like talk about it and like be antsy, and like you don't want to just be like waiting on the sidelines to kind of get in the game and get married. Like you want to be practicing, you want to be in the game already kind of together. And so I feel like that's really good. There's always like great advice. I feel like actually your brother-in-law Nathan gave me some great advice when I think it was right before we got engaged. But he told me like get everything out on the table. Like talk through all the hard topics, go through marriage counseling, don't hold anything back. Like if there's anything that like you're reserved about, bring it up in engagement, because otherwise you're married. Like you need to know if there's any deal breakers, anything that you can't, there's almost nothing you can't work through, but like you wanted to get it out now before marriage so that your marriage is easier, healthier, happier, more spiritually fulfilling. And the other thing I was just going to kind of say, and I'm glad that you're thinking about it too, is like now's the time to work on yourself, because once you're married, it's all on you, and like you have to lead, and like you have to set the example. So the best thing you can do is to work on yourself and to prepare your heart and to establish the right habits and to get in the right mental place, and like lead her again already in the right way, and be a good spiritual leader, because then once you're married, it's kind of like it's game time. Like there's no more time to prepare. Like you just have to figure it out as you go.
Yeah, I think so. I've kind of heard that. I've always kind of felt like, oh, I only have until I get married, and then that's it. But I mean, the reality is, I can still work on myself. Like after we're married,
You just want to make it as easy as you can.
Yeah, and
like,
so
you'd rather not learn some things the hard way. Like it's better to learn some things the easy way.
Yeah.
Of like, here's how I did, or like here's some things you can do, or talk about beforehand, or don't come in thinking this way because that's wrong. You'll make her mad, and you'll have unnecessary fights and stuff. But I feel like you guys have been really good about like being intentional about preparing for marriage. And the reality is like you're never going to be fully prepared for marriage, and you just have to do the best that you can to prepare yourself for your wife, or for your husband if you're a lady. But you just have to ask God to complete you in all the ways you're going to be incomplete, and then the day comes and you're married.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah, so we're both so excited. Like I'm excited. It's I think for a long time I was like, there's been a lot of change in my life the last 3-4 months, and before this season came, I was like anticipating it and kind of like freaking out a little bit and pretty nervous, and it's all come and it's been like really good. Like it hasn't been it's been hard, but like it's all been like natural good change. And so like the last kind of big step for me, like with all the rest of the change, was kind of getting married. So I just feel excited. Like I feel peaceful about it, and I feel good, and it's gonna be a lot to learn, I'm sure.
It's gonna be great though.
I'm excited. Yeah,
marriage is the best. It's a blessing. All right, my friend. Well, the next time that we talk on this podcast,
I have a ring right here.
you're gonna be she's gonna put a ring on it, and you're gonna be taken off the market.
I mean,
That's
I
well
like to think I've been off the
officially.
market.
That's right.
It's like,
He is off the market, ladies.
Yeah.
Hold your horses. Get out of your car. No, just kidding. But
Get out of your car.
yeah. So
Cool.
we'll talk to you the next one.
Take us home, Cory.
All right, I'll take us home. Thanks for listening.
Get in the car.
Yeah, don't get in the car. It's a trap. Thanks for listening. Let's see. Follow us on the social medias. Now I'm like totally
Me
thrown
and Cory
off.
were just talking before this. I was telling him how I love doing intros. I hate doing the outro because it's like, what do you say? Like, thanks for listening. Like,
We should just from now on stick with one thing. Just share it with your friends.
yeah,
Thanks,
but
bye.
every podcast I listen to, they go through this long list of what you need to do. Like,
Yeah, but we don't want to
email
be like
us
every
here,
podcast.
do this, like this, comment on that. Give us. Oh, you can give us a review though. We'll take.
That's
reviews.
true. We'll take a review.
No more than 6 stars.
No more.
Nothing
No
more.
less.
Nothing less. Yeah.
You just put, like I said, put the 5 stars in there. Add the 6th star in the comments. Bang, 6 stars. That's what we want. We gotta show Apple. Okay. Well, anyways, share with your friends. Thanks. I'll see you next time.
Bye.